People always say money is not important. Once you've been there and had nothing, you're like, I never want to go back to that place. That mental switch you make, I don't care about what people think about me. Biggest mistake in business is probably... Okay, so we're now on our way to Helsinki and we're gonna watch a game by the best team in the world.
He's the best football player in the world.
You guys asked a ton of questions, and so I'm gonna try to respond and reply to them. From Sana Jassim Kreshi. What should be everyday routine for a mother of a toddler who wants to become a full-time funnel designer? So obviously I can relate, but I'm also a father, so I don't know how it looks in your household, if you have a husband, if you're separated. But for me, I'm lucky to have a wife who takes care of the kids, so it's pretty easy for me to say, have someone else take care of the kids while you have I call this holy time, where you have like a few hours every day where you can do work uninterrupted. Because even for me, I have a home-based office, but the difference is so big when I go to the office in town, no kids, nothing, no distractions, and then I can just like get work done and then I come home. The main thing is obviously depending on your situation. Like I said, if you have a husband or a wife, you can take care of the kids or a babysitter or something. But the main thing is really, if you want to have a business and get somewhere pretty quick, you gotta have a few hours a day where you have no distractions. And sometimes the hardest part is not getting the job done, is dealing with other people who are not in your situation. They don't understand you, and so they're like, wait, why do you prioritize this instead of family time? Why do you prioritize investing in a new laptop instead of the family trip or this or that? And so that's probably the mental part is the hardest part. How do you overcome setbacks? Well, it's kind of like talking in front of 1,000 people here. It's just, fear of other people's opinions. And so what is a setback? It's not that you're afraid of what you did and what you messed up. It's the opinion of the person that you maybe hurt, the mistake that you made, and how you made someone feel. So if you can overcome that and take another chance at it and not worry about what that person think of you or other people who hear about you or spread rumors about you, then you can go at it again. And so it's just that mental switch you make. I don't care about what people think about me. And then it becomes a lot easier. So. Okay, so what keeps me motivated? I think I've always been a motivated person, and people always say money is not important. But once you've been there and had nothing, you're like, I never want to go back to that place. So it's almost like a bad place to come from, because you're like, I'm running from something. I think it's better to have goals, which I also do, that are more aspirational. But to be honest, a lot of my goals are financial because I'm running from poverty. I never want to go back to it. But also, like, if you look at the upside of it is, okay, so now we have enough for my family, then how can I make more and help these people? And so I already have like big visions of what I want to do, and it starts small with charity work and here and there, but then eventually it's like, okay, how do I make 100 million and then create something that's way bigger than me? What was harder, 10K or 20K? The first 10K is obviously the hardest because everything is new. Not just like communication with clients, but also your confidence is low because you've had past failures. Every time you start something, it's gonna be hard and you fail. So it's like you gotta get over that first. And so when you meet your next potential client, you remember when you messed up the last one. And so at 20K, you already have more interactions with people and you have a few more wins. And so you learn what to do more of and then what to do less of because it didn't work. And then at the same time, selling something, you also deliver it. So by building something, you get better at what you do, which also increases confidence. So when you talk to the next client, you have more examples to show. These days, when I do sales calls, it's like, here's some examples of funnels I've built, and I know they're good without sounding too cocky. I'm like, people say, yeah, that's exactly what I want mine to look like. How much is it? And so I don't even have to sell or convince someone. I just show examples of what I've built, and that does the selling. So it gets easier. a lot easier.
What's your thoughts on becoming a full-time nomad?
Okay, great question. I get this a lot on Facebook when people see I'm traveling. And I used to be pro full-time nomad, where you travel the world and you work and you build a business, you can work from anywhere. And don't get me wrong, that's good, but I've recently changed my mind. For example, now we're just traveling and tomorrow we're back home and then I'm working. So I separate the two and I enjoy when I'm traveling and I work when I'm home, because that's how the environment is set up, where I can be productive and I can enjoy traveling.
Next question. What's your biggest mistake in business?
Okay, biggest mistake in business is probably being too excited about too many different things and thinking that I have the capacity to do them all. For an example, started my agency, then I'm like, hey, it would be nice to have a podcast. Why not? Multiple streams of income. And then I'm like, okay, now I would also like to productize this business and have a software so I can scale it, because that's a fancy word, right? And so I launched that and spent over 10,000 on the software. And then, hey, I love coffee. Let's create our own coffee and launch a coffee business. And I just had too many different things going on and I almost burnt out. And also I didn't make any more money. So I was working more, had way more stress, but I didn't make any more money. So I would say just like do one thing really well and you can scale that to 1 million and beyond.
Are you going to Funnel Hacking Live this year?
No, I think I'm done with conferences. I'd rather do in-person masterminds instead.
What would you do if you weren't building funnels right now?
I think I'd still be doing something creative, because creative fulfillment is more important than just making money. So for an example, I would try to steal your jobs, do video marketing, but probably not for local businesses, but for like creators and influencers, celebrities or something. So now I have a question for you. This is a really good question. I'll start with you, Hugo. You're still filming? What would you say to someone who wants to start an online business? They've never had a business, never made any money online, and they're looking at both of us and they say, okay, should I do video editing or filmmaking, or should I build funnels? And I assume that there's one type of person who's maybe more suitable for one of the two. So how do one person go about choosing, if they had to choose between video marketing or funnel building?
Next question.
It both comes down to being creative, but it's still a big difference between them. Both sides have a scalable business in online, and both are pretty easy to start with. You don't have to have a lot of money or barely any to start either funnel or video marketing, because you find a lot of information online on YouTube, for example, watching your channel. So I think just start a little bit with both,
Test both.
and test it out and see what fits you better, because in the end it's just what you enjoy doing more that's going to work better either way. So in the end, what I also think, if you're more of a sales and business person, go with funnels.
Okay.
But if you're more like a creative person, go with video.
Okay. I would say both of them are visual, so you could sell both even if you're not a good salesperson. If you're just really good at what you do, then the thing that you do becomes the thing that sells itself. Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's say someone wanted to start a business, either a video marketing or funnel building. They didn't have any money, so they couldn't pay for a course or a coach. That's the typical answer, right? Like invest in yourself and everything. But they had to start from zero, and they had to learn it by themselves, and they only had 30 days. What would you do? Like, where would you go to find info? What are some actions that you would do, like from day one, to get your first client?
Like, do I have access to a computer?
They have a computer, Wi-Fi, and they could like get some softwares, but not like you pay thousands and thousands for a coach or something.
So yeah, neither of us have really, or we haven't bought any courses online. We haven't gone to film school. We just started doing this because we loved it, and we just learned through YouTube. I really think.
And by doing.
And by doing, yeah, for sure. I would say that if you buy a course, this will definitely speed up your learning process if you can learn from someone else and maybe have a mentor or something. But if you don't have the money for that,
Yeah, the rules are they can't use money.
then YouTube is more than enough, yeah.
Okay, so to get their first client, where would they start? How would they go about maybe posting content or showcase what they have, or approach people? Maybe find someone they could like work their way into.
Well, there's multiple ways how you would approach that, but either you do like inbound marketing, is that what it's called? When you post content, that's what you're doing, right?
You showcase your work,
Yeah, so you're showcasing your work and you have clients come to you. Or you could like cold DM influencers, local people.
And would you offer like a free video first or something? How would you get the first initial content?
That depends on where you are, in which stage you are. If this is your first first real project, then yeah, sure, free works fine for first couple of ones. But when you have a solid portfolio and you can showcase your skills, then definitely don't be shy to charge the client.
Definitely.
So how much did you charge for your first funnel?
First one was 250 euros.
How long did it take for you to charge 1,000?
A few weeks, and I still remember driving my Volkswagen to the first local client and feeling shitless scared. And then once I closed the first one for 1,000, I knew that now I can just duplicate this. I'm actually gonna make it. This is actually a real business.
Last question. Talking about cars, what was your first car?
My first car was a BMW. Couldn't afford it. Took a loan. I thought it was the baller, and it turned out. It wasn't such a smart decision. Then I sort of went back to a smaller, I think, Polo, and then worked my way up from there. Yeah.
And what car do you have now?
Right, next question is from TJ. How do I build a backend system in my business for when I'm ready to hire people? So this is a great question, and here's why. I'm right now looking for designers, me and Mika, a good friend of mine. We're putting together a list of 30 different designers, and yes, you wanna go crazy. You wanna go, how can we find as many qualified people as possible, then narrow it down to, so he's going from 30 to interviewing people, getting it down to 3. And then I'm gonna interview 3 people, the best of the best, and they have to be better than me at one specific thing. There's a mathematical, so for example, if you charge 2,000 and you have a copywriter and designer and you wanna get paid, and maybe you wanna have a project manager, there's no profits left for you. So the math has to make sense, right? So for us, I recently increased my prices from 3.5K to 5K, had a couple of clients. Now with that new price range, so now we know a designer could make 1,500 or maybe 2,000, a copywriter could make 1,500 or 2,000. So we have, I would say, try to keep it to 50% of the fee that you charge your clients. And so when you look at, okay, who do I want to hire? Make sure you first look at how much do I make per client, right? So if you're charging 1,500 or 1,000 for a funnel, how many people can you afford to have? Probably 0, right? Like you gotta do the work first. And it's also good to do the work first, because then you learn the process, you learn the skills, so you know what to look for when you're looking for those 30 people to narrow down to 3 to find your one person, if that makes sense. All right, so we have another question from Visar. I would like to know about this. I've noticed the majority of sales funnel builders with their content target prospects that are in decision-making stage. So I would love to know, how do you target prospects in awareness stage when they don't even know that a funnel will solve their problem? And it's a great question, because there's a difference between selling to people, for example, who's never heard about a funnel, so unaware, right, to someone who know about funnels, aware, to someone who's actually already using funnels, who just need a better funnel. So for an example, if you had to convince someone who's trying to lose weight in a gym that you should instead go for a walk in a golf park, that's a better way to lose weight versus just someone already playing golf how to lose weight, is like you don't have to convince them because they're already doing it. And so someone who's using a funnel, they're already spending money on it. The same thing with like Facebook ads. If they're spending money on Facebook ads, you can just sell your service on Facebook ads to that person, and it's an easy close if you got the results to back it up. And so less convincing. So my question to you, Visar, is like, why are you trying to target people who are unaware or in awareness stage, just because other people are selling to people who are already using funnels? And so instead of trying to stand out that way, just sell to those people and try to become better at what you do. And it's way easier to close. You don't have to be good at sales or anything like that. And there's enough fish in the pond for you as well.